Joining us now, one of my best friends in the world, just a great guy, and he's going to give us tremendous insight here. I was very excited about this segment. Joe Morrissey, Fighting Joe from Richmond, as you know, served in the General Assembly in Richmond, ran for mayor, lost a close election there, and he's fighting every day. And he's one of these guys that, he goes out on a limb for the things he believes in, which is why I'm such a believer in Joe Morrissey, and he's my good friend. And he's an FOJ, friend of John, which means, you're a friend for life, right? And he's joining us now. Joe, great to have you. Fighting Joe on the show.
Good morning, John. Good to be here with you again. I hope you and your family are doing well.
I know, but you are too, because you got a new baby going on and got a house full of kids running around. You guys are having fun in there.
We've got 4 little ones here, 5, 3, 2, and 3 months running around, although the 3-month isn't running around. But, yeah, it's a hectic household. But, John, I wouldn't change anything in the world for it. It's I'm blessed and I'm lucky, and what else can I say?
Well, I tell you what, there's nothing like a house full of little ones running around. It keeps you young, keeps you vibrant, keeps you centered. There's no ego or arrogance going on when you're getting thrown up on in the middle of the night. It's a very humbling experience.
They come down at all hours. They jump in the bed. There's always something that's the most pressing thing in the world to each one. And but John, I love the chaos, and I love the laughter, and I love the running around. And Myrna says that she's got 5 kids because, when I get home from a busy day at work, there's nothing I enjoy more than playing with these guys. It's full on, and I think the 5 of us drive Myrna nuts, but it's like I said, it's all good.
That's just fabulous, Joe. All right, we got a lot to talk about today. We're with Fighting Joe Morrissey. So look, Fighting Joe, let me just ask you this. So attorney-client privilege, I'm upset about this raid on Michael Cohen, Trump's personal lawyer. Frame this for us. What happened?
Okay, let me give you a very middle-of-the-road diagnosis of what's going on. In other words, let me just give you the facts so that people can assess it, okay? Number one, let's understand the players involved. Michael Cohen first was a top lawyer at the Trump Organization till January of 2017. He resigns that position and becomes Trump's personal attorney. That's important to note, Trump's personal attorney, okay?
Yes.
Then next, what do we have? We have Robert Mueller, who was the special prosecutor appointed to investigate alleged ties between Russia and the Trump campaign. That's important. It's to not investigate anything and everything, but to investigate ties between Russia and the Trump campaign. Now, if during his investigation, Mueller finds that something else is going on that warrants investigation, he just can't, on his own, start investigating that, okay? He's got to get the permission of Deputy Attorney Rod Weinstein, or he's got to refer the matter out to a local U.S. attorney. So are you with me so far? John?
Yes.
Okay, so then he finds out about this peripheral matter involving Stormy Daniels, the porn star whom the president allegedly had a fling with, okay? So what he did is he goes to Rod Weinstein and he says, look what I've uncovered. It's not directly related to my mandate, Russia-Trump campaign, but I found this going on. And so Weinstein then refers it to the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. But let's be clear, it's got Mueller's fingerprints all over it. So what we've done now is he refers it to New York, and now they end up searching Mueller's home, his hotel room, his office. And the reason it was his hotel room is his home is undergoing some renovation. Now, let's be clear what you have to do. Before you can raid somebody's home, particularly an attorney's office, there has to be a search warrant. It has to be approved by the United States Attorney's Office. It has to be reviewed by a United States judge or federal magistrate. It has to be sworn under oath, and it's probably about 30 or 40 pages in length, okay? So what they did, the investigators then raided Michael Cohen's home, office, hotel room, and they seized computers, personal financial records. They reviewed documents involving Cohen and his client. That's important. They took documents involving Cohen and his client, and that's what we're talking about, privileged information, seized it all up. Now, so who responds? And you have his own attorney, Cohen's attorney, said, listen, this wasn't necessary. It was inappropriate. Why? My client, Cohen, has already cooperated fully with all government entities.
Right.
2, my client, Cohen, has already provided thousands of documents. Number 3, my client, Cohen, has already sat for a deposition under oath. Why did you do this? All right. And then the fourth player you got is Trump. He weighed in, and he's called what the FBI did a disgrace. I agree. He said the FBI broke into his lawyer's office. I disagree. They didn't break in. They did go in with a search warrant. All right. And then he calls it an attack on our country. Well, let's be clear. I like to think that attack on a country is warfare. It's an attack on our sacred charter, the U.S. Constitution. So that's the facts that's occurred, and then you start to analyze it. And I'll begin with a bold statement. I'm a Democrat, but I'm a former prosecutor. I'm very, very disturbed that this raid on an attorney's office seizing personal documents between an attorney and his client. It's very, very unsettling to me.
I just got to tell you that I really appreciate you walking us through this because there's a lot of misinformation going out. So Mueller goes to Rothenstein. But again, I mean, you only get a search warrant on somebody because you think they've committed a crime. So yes. The crime, allegedly, I guess they're saying, is that he got a $130,000 line of credit. And, you know, on the bank form, you have to put what you're going to do with the money. And obviously he didn't put he was going to give it to Stormy Daniels. And so he used it for something else. Now, that is a felony. But,
Hold on a second. Wait a second. Let's back up. There's nothing illegal with paying a person, a woman, Stormy Daniels, for her silence. Nothing illegal about that. Let's be clear. And it happens all the time. There's an allegation made, and the two people settle their differences. Okay, listen, I will pay you $130,000. You agree to be silent. You agree not to go to such and such a magazine. We're not admitting that there was a sexual liaison, but we're paying you for your silence. Oh, no, that's not illegal. And it's normally done with a document. And in fact, Cohen said, I did this. I made a $130,000 payment. It was a civil settlement. A civil settlement is not illegal. Okay? So let's begin there. What Cohen is being investigated for, he's being investigated for possible bank fraud, possible wire fraud, and possible campaign finance violations. The latter being, did you use campaign finance money to pay a personal debt, i.e. a civil settlement with Stormy Daniels? Yes, that would be a felony, okay? But did Cohen commit a felony because he settled a civil settlement on behalf of a client? No.
So what's the crime?
Well, I think what they're looking at is whether or not campaign finance money was used to pay this debt. I think they're looking to looking to see if there was wire fraud. What that means is some type of fraud involved in the transaction itself, and he's also being investigated for bank fraud. In other words, did he sign some document at a bank that was fraudulent, that was not truthful? Okay. For example, let's say that he put down $130,000 to Miss S. Daniels and then the signature part could be, or the notation part, for campaign consulting. I'm just making that up, okay? Well, wait a second. That would not be true. She's not getting $130,000 for that, all right? So that wouldn't be true. But my understanding is that he paid it out of his personal account, okay? And I have no idea what was on what was on that check. I can't imagine otherwise. There was a document drawn up between Cohen and Stormy Daniels saying, "Listen, for you're not giving this story to the National Enquirer. My client does not admit that he had a sexual twist with you, but for you not going to the National Enquirer, we're paying you $130,000. If he just did that, he's good. He hasn't committed a crime. But let's get away from that, John, and let me tell you what my problem is. You've got an attorney-client relationship. He is the personal attorney for the president. I take umbrage that you're raiding his office and his home, and you're seizing everything, including documents associated with Cohen's client, personal documents, everything. It's very troubling that the government can go in and do that.
Unbelievable. We're with Joe Morrissey, Fighting Joe Morrissey, longtime attorney, defense attorney in the Richmond area, served Central Virginia. And, of course, if you don't know Joe, Fighting Joe, he was served in the House of Delegates in the General Assembly. He's a Democrat. He's a Catholic. He's pro-life. Also, Joe ran for mayor of Richmond. And there was a time where Joe won. What was it, Joe? What was the number of cases that you won consecutively, like 215 or something?
No. Thank you for saying that, though. One time I won 54 juries in a row. But let's not talk about me. We'll get back to that. But let me just finish telling you this with regard to the search warrant. Do I see potential problems in the horizon? I do. Here's why. That search warrant, it was an affidavit in support of a search warrant. It's been described by somebody as probably at least 40 pages long. That document has got to describe certain felonies that the FBI thinks occurred. All right? It's got to set that forth in an affidavit form. All right? And by this time, Cohen has that document and his lawyer do it. And then a federal judge has to sign off on it, and then they go in and they get it. So here's the key. Everybody in your business, in your industry, John, you want to see that search warrant affidavit. What does that affidavit say under oath that they are looking for in his office? Do you follow me?
Yes.
So that's the key here. The other thing is this, and you've got a special prosecutor. Give me a number that you think his budget is to investigate the president. Pick a number, John. What do you think it is?
$100 million.
That's actually, that's not bad. If you said that, I'm sure some people would say, "Oh no, he's that's John is just engaging in guesswork." No. By the end of this, Mueller's tab that will be paid by the federal or the citizens, taxpayers, may very easily close in around $100 million. Remember when Starr investigated Clinton?
Yeah.
It was over $60 million. So what does Mueller do? He hires a cadre of prosecutors, 15, 20, 25. They rent offices, and they're all charged with focusing in on something. And let me tell you, you put 30 prosecutors on John Fredericks. No, on your wife. Your wife is the neatest, coolest, most honest, polite person in the world, John. You and I know that.
Yes.
But you put 30 prosecutors on her, guess what? They will find something that Ann Fredericks did wrong. Or they think that they did wrong. You follow me?
Yep.
Now, that's troubling to me that's what's going on right now. Mueller was charged with investigating ties between Trump and Trump's campaign and Russia. But now it's expanding. quite frankly, the liaisons that he's allegedly had with Stormy Daniels, and today there was a report in the paper that there was a Playboy model, Karen McDougal, and irrespective of one's moral pontification about whether that being right or wrong, okay, here's the point. It's expanding on and on and on, and that's a very troubling part to me, okay? And I can't help but note the irony. When Starr was investigating Clinton and looking into every aspect associated with Monica Lewinsky, Democrats were saying, "Stop it, Starr, you're going too far. This is beyond your mandate." Now, when when they're investigating President Trump, same Democrats are saying, "Oh no, keep doing it, keep doing it." Similarly, Republicans were telling Starr, "Keep going after, expand the mandate." Now they're dire or hardcore Republicans are saying, "No, limit it." Do you see the irony that's going on?
Yes.
And so what I say is just follow your mandate. You've got a mandate, and I'm troubled that you're expanding it into somebody's personal life. I mean, has nothing to do with him being president. It prevents the country from getting on with its business, and that's not good for us.
Fighting Joe Morrissey. So, Joe, this has been a great analysis. We got about a couple more minutes. So I'm trying to follow. You're talking about the affidavit that had to be part of the search warrant for a judge to sign it. So we know that it was approved by Rod Rothenstein, but the search warrant would have gone to the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. But apparently that's a Trump appointee, and he recused himself. So then what judge then actually signed the search warrant?
Well, it has to be a federal judge or a federal magistrate, and I don't know which one did it. But here's what Mueller said. Okay, Mueller, Rothenstein, same thing. Okay, I am not going to handle this matter involving whatever. Let's push it on to U.S. Attorney in New York, but it still has Mueller's fingerprints on it. And then, in all likelihood, a FBI agent signed that affidavit, okay, saying that this is what we're going to, this is why we're asking for a search warrant of his home and his hotel and his office. These are the crimes that we suspect. These are the facts that we have right now, et cetera, okay? But let's be clear. I've been involved in these before. Those affidavits are merely the opinions of that FBI agent who's got, his blinders on, okay? I guarantee you that Cohen's attorney is dissecting that affidavit right now, and he's saying, no, this isn't true. This is false. This is false. This is false. I promise you that's going on right now. And then you should expect to see in short order a motion for the return of all of the seized property that was taken, plus criticism for the FBI going in there and taking, documents that are associated with attorney-client privilege.
And so when they take these documents, all the documents, he was the president's personal lawyer, so all of the documents that he took, involve him and Donald J. Trump, right? He was his personal lawyer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Attorney records of Cohen's, personal records, and there was nothing that wasn't touched, and there's nothing that they're not going to look through. Nothing.
Unbelievable. Fighting Joe Morrissey. It's unbelievable.
No, listen, it's frightening, John. It's frightening, and I saw it with Clinton. I see it now. I tend to look at things in the middle and analyze it. It's frightening because of what could happen to you. So to those Democrats that are out there gloating, saying, he's getting his just dessert or reward right now. No, really you should look at it and say, is this how our country was founded? that we're going to let a government authority come into our home and seize our personal records. No, it's very, very troubling, and I think everybody should be concerned about it. And I was asked, do I think that Trump will fire him? I don't know, but I'll tell you this. The sentiment that I've heard from other folks, and these are people that are not Trump supporters, they're saying, I think it's gone too far. If they can do that to him, look what could happen to me.
Joe Morrissey, spot on once again. If you were advising the president, would you tell him to fire Mueller?
I've thought about that, what I would do, and I think he's overexpanded, and I think here's what he's got to weigh it against. There's going to be a public outcry. What I would advise him is to make the public aware through his bully pulpit as to the overreach by the special prosecutor, and let the public and the Congress come to the realization, wait a second, he's gone too far. Let it build to that point before he's fired.
Joe Morrissey, thank you for your time. We have to have you back on a regular basis. That 2 days, that's been the best
anytime,
insight.
And I know you want to talk about a couple of other matters. I've got to rush to a jury. I'm in the middle of a jury trial right now, but I'm always happy to chat with you. And you indicated you wanted to talk to me about my own situation. Happy to do that too, John.